Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the Marshall Gambit. My name is Charles, and okay, let's get started. So in this video, what I'll do is that I'll show you how you reach the main position of the Marshall so that you can identify the opening in your games, and then I'll show you some theory for white so that you can play versus the defense successfully. So after e4, e5, knight f3, e6, we basically play a regular Ruy Lopez. And when we play c3, black has the option of playing d5. And this is the Marshall Gambit. I think that this is a highly credible opening for black because Garry Kasparov, who was the best player of the world for many years and is probably the greatest theoretician that the game ever had, he never allowed anybody to play this opening as black against him. So that means that he believes in black's initiative. And so if you're looking to play this opening, I highly recommend it for you. Taking that into consideration, the main move continuation here is pawn takes, knight takes, and then we gambit the e-pawn with knight takes e5. And what's the idea of this opening? Well, basically, there are many ideas, obviously, just like many openings. But what happens here is the following. After knight takes, rook takes, and c6, there's been a minor transformation in the position, and that's that the knight that was on f3 was exchanged for the one that was on c6. And when we have this exchange of pieces, white's kingside is vulnerable, and the rook on e5 all of a sudden becomes a target of attack for black's pieces, and it allows black to gain valuable tempos to develop an initiative on white's kingside. This initiative transforms into a kingside weakness, which is a move g3, and then black basically has theoretically a strategic laid out game for him for the rest of the game, which is to play in the light squares. Let's see what that looks like. If white were to continue d4 here, then white plays bishop d6, rook to e1, and queen to h4. And this is what I mean about generating valuable tempos. We attack the rook, that's one tempo. Now we threaten checkmate, that's another tempo. So after g3, and this is the transformation of those threats into what basically is, as a result of the move g3, we'll be targeting the light squares in white's position for the rest of the game. So queen to h3, rook e4, and now g5. It's a very ingenious way of playing for black. The idea is to stop rook to h4, and just to show you some theory for players that want to play this as black, a main grandmaster game went queen to e2, f5, rook e6, takes, queen takes. Now we're threatening checkmate. Notice what white's development on the queen side. Bishop d2 stopping mate, f4 threatening f3. And after g4, the player of the white pieces, who was a 2700 rated grandmaster, resigned. So going back, I just wanted to show you that game so that you see how black attacks in this position and how you typically get attacked. So now let me show you my recommendation for white. Here, instead of d4, I recommend the move d3. And I like it very much because it's a modest defensive move. It leaves the 4th rank open for our rook to... it leaves the 4th rank open for our rook, and it also gives us the 4 square that we could use for our pieces for defensive purposes. So black here will play bishop d6, gaining his tempo, rook to e1, and now queen to h4 here is actually not as good as in the previous variation because we have the 4 square. So the main move is bishop to f5. And we'll go over queen to h4 after bishop to f5. We play queen to f3, queen h4, g3, queen h3, and we play bishop d5, pawn takes, rook a to d8, queen to g2. And most high-level grandmaster games have continued here, queen takes queen. And after king takes, bishop takes d3, we enter an endgame, which is incredible for white to reach this type of position, given the type of positions that white reaches after d4. here white can attempt to play for a win, but it is highly probable that the result of the game will be a draw. But having said that, there have been decisive games here where white ends up winning. So going back, alternatively, after queen g2, black can play a little more resilient, and that's by playing queen to h5, which is the way Jakovenko has been playing. Then we play bishop e3, black plays bishop h3, attacking the dark squares, queen to h1, and after f5, I have some innovations here that you could use in your own games. We play bishop b6. A main game has gone this way. And there's two moves for black here. He could play rook d7 or f4. If f4, then we capture the rook. We're going to end up sacrificing our queen here. And after bishop to d4, white has basically consolidated his pieces. Now he doubles his rooks on the e file and he captures the g2 pawn, and he's clearly better. The game could continue something along these lines. So going back, if instead rook to d7, then we play queen d5 check, and this is how a main game went, where instead of rook to e7, how Bakro played, we play queen to c6, and we have a nasty threat here, because what would be the most natural move for black here? The most natural move for black would be to play bishop to g4, but white has a sick tactical trick. Can you see it? Well, there's only one really, and it's sacrificing the bishop on g7. And after bishop takes g7, white checkmates black. So because of that, there's only one move here, and that's f4. We play king to h1, f3, and in this position, the initiative has passed on to white. The game could continue along these lines, and in this endgame, we could try to win the endgame because we're going to be able to attack the black king on g7. So going back, the other move in this position is queen to h4. We play g3, queen h3, and just like in the main line of the Marshall Gambit, we play rook to e4 here, with the same idea, playing rook to h4, pestering the queen to alleviate the threats that it's creating on the white squares. So there's two main lines here. Black could play knight to f6 or queen to f5. Queen to f5 is the main way of playing, after which we play knight to d2, queen g6, and now a4. This is the way Alonso Zapata played, who is a Colombian grandmaster. If f5, then rook d4, f4, and knight to e4. The idea is the following, that after bishop g4, we exchange on d5, and we play queen to b3, and I like white's chances. If instead knight to f6, which is how some games have, it's how Pavlovek has played. He's a I believe he's an IM, 2400 rated IM. Rook to e1, bishop g4, f3, bishop h3, and now king to h1. And if you notice, because we have our pawn on d3, we're going to be able to use the 4 square for our pieces, and we could essentially develop our queen side, which is what's keeping us from winning this game.